convenience. So when you open up Oasis on your computer, it's going to ask you to log in. Maybe I'll show you guys that as well. It'll ask you to log in with a username and password. It is cloud-based, so it takes a few minutes for it to kind of link up. Alright, so you'll type your username here and your password here. Last year, it was allowing students to log in with their email address, alternatively to their password, similar to how Facebook and things like that work now. However, you could log into this screen, but if you were logged in with your email address, not your username, it would not let you open your bid. It would come up with an error and crash. So you have to log in with your username, unless they have fixed that issue. It was an issue that we had technical support at Delhi and Oasis working together on for a couple weeks together. So the interface will look like this. All these ones in red, they're in a kind of recycling bin. So we'll get rid of those at some point. What you're going to be looking for is on the left-hand side in the code column. If you sort this by code, CNST 260 is estimating 1. CARP 170 is the residential, Mr. Brownell's residential class. There's some 340 stuff in here, but maybe some stuff from ASC competitions. But you're going to look for the CNST 260, and what you're going to see is a project name dash your last name. Now, the first time you log in, you'll more than likely see this. And I'll get 100 questions. Not 100 questions. There's 15 of you. I'll get 15 questions. I can't see my bid. If you take your, just like Excel, and you make this column wider so you can see the whole name, you'll be able to see your last name here after the project name. They'll be kind of alphabetical by lab section, and you'll be able to log in that way. So you can go over here, and if you're double-clicking in this area, you can double-click all day and nothing happens. You have to select the bid you want to open, then go over on the right-hand screen, and it'll list what plan sets you have. Sometimes you set up one bid, but you have a schematic design set, a design development set, any number of sets. So in this case here, we have our base bid. It's the only one we have. I'm going to open that up by double-clicking. And it takes just a second to load because it is cloud-based. So when it says no images available right away, don't panic. So the project, we may touch multiple projects this semester. The one that I think I'm going to initially start on, if you're from the lower Adirondacks, you may be familiar with it. There's in Queensbury, it's part of the Hudson Headwaters Health Network. It's West Mountain Health Center. It's not actually at West Mountain Ski area, but it's close by. So you'll see you have in the Oasis interface, there's your plan shows up in this window. On the left side here is where your takeoffs are going to show up. You have a summary tab, which will view when we have some results in it, and you'll be able to see what that does. This drop-down menu here is all of the drawings. This is how you change the scale for each drawing. That's incredibly important. Right? If you don't have the right scale, your quantities are all going to be wrong. You know, print, pretty basic functions. It's not a complicated software to learn. There are some linear dimension tools. I'll show you where they might be useful, and how to create a condition. So I'm going to flip to just the first floor plan. So when I go to the main floor plan here, you can see I zoom in on the bottom, and the scale is 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. So do we just take the architect's word for it and estimate this at 1/8 inch? Yeah, the vast majority of times that's correct, but I have run into more than once projects where that's not the correct scale. So 1/8 inch up here. I'm just going to take my dimension tool and you click and drag, and that's close. You know, that's my clicking accuracy. 11 feet, 11 feet. So I always check a dimension. If there's no dimensions on the plans, generally speaking, on a commercial building, the doors will be 36 inches, 3 feet. So you can check a door. You can check something else that's known. If you go into a bathroom and they mark out the ADA circle, that's 5 feet. You know, check things that you know kind of what size they are. So it's a pretty, not necessarily a very complicated, too complicated of a building. It's just your general office building. Bunch of different rooms. There's some exam rooms. There are some nurses stations. There are toilets, different. So how I'm navigating in Oasis itself, if you scroll, it goes up and down just like you're scrolling in a Word document or a website. If you hold Control and scroll down, it zooms out. If you hold Control and scroll up, it zooms in. And if you push Shift, if you hold Shift down, it scrolls left to right. Does that make sense? I think you can grab. There's like a hand up here. You can grab and move around. So there's a couple different ways that you can move about the building. There's different blow-ups and things like that, and we'll get into a little bit of plan reading after. You want to make sure you're reading all of the notes on the drawings. A lot of information in the notes that a lot of people miss. Right, but let's say I wanted to, take off floor, and there's going to be a finished schedule in here, but just to show you guys the quantities, if I go down the bottom left hand corner, there's this plus symbol. If I click that, it brings up this condition wizard, and I'm going to select a count condition first. There's also going to be a door schedule, so make sure you're actually counting these specific to the schedules and what's specified, not just what I'm clicking away on over here. So when I open up a count condition, I'm just going to say interior doors. Right? You can change the shape of it. Generally, when I'm doing doors, I'll change the width to 3 feet. Now in Oasis, the way you type this, you can either type 3 and then the foot symbol. You can type 300. If you type 3, it gives you 3 inches. So if you want feet for a width or a dimension, you have to type, you have to kind of speak its language. So I'm going to say interior doors. I'm going to count. Over here you can set different conditions. So just hypothetically speaking, if we had to paint these doors, you could say surface area both width sides, which would be the flat surface of the door, as opposed to, or you could say surface area, you really want to probably paint all sides, right? Does that make sense? So I'm just going to turn on those two for now. If I click OK. Another lovely update to Oasis is this window can't go smaller than a certain size. And the resolution of my laptop screen makes the OK or apply buttons underneath my taskbar. So if you have a laptop of a similar size and you're drawing at home, drag your taskbar out of the way. Just put it over on the side for now, so you can get to these buttons. It's a huge annoyance, and I've been on technical support with them, and they're, well, have you changed your screen resolution? Yes, I have. Click apply, okay, and you'll see how a condition shows up here in my condition list, and then to count these doors, I'm just going to simply click, and you can see each time I click, right? It marks it on the drawing just like you would with a highlighter. So this will save you a couple miles on your highlighters, so you can use them in Mr. McKeegan's classes or elsewhere.
Does it automatically choose different colors?
Yeah, you can customize that if you'd like. So again, I'm going to go up here on this left-hand side. If I scroll over, you can see I've counted 11 doors, and I wanted it to measure surface area of the doors, and it says 0 square feet. So if I go back into this condition by double-clicking on it, what looks like it happened is, of course it's 0 square feet. I didn't add a door. So let's say they're probably 6'8" doors. So I'm going to type 608, enter. If I wanted to change the color, I can go up here and make them blue. You have kind of a list. It'll auto-select colors, where really when I get into customizing the colors is if I'm doing a plumbing takeoff that I'm going to present to an owner or an architect, sometimes I'll take off colors by system, so I'll use different shades of blue for the different size cold water piping, different shades of red for the different size hot water piping, yellow for vent, another color, purple for waste, whatever, so that they're all different. Use brown for waste. So now when I click OK, you can see it automatically changed all my colors. I have 11 doors and there's 880 square feet. So that when like I said, if you have to paint these doors and you're trying to buy paint, now you know you need enough paint for 880 square feet. That's you wouldn't think 11 doors are that much area. And again, as you click, you can see these quantities automatically refreshing. So it counts, it makes estimating very, very efficient and neat, right?
So let's say there's a door that's 30 inches for whatever reason.
And you make another condition.
Yeah, that's it?
Yeah. So now let's say I'm up in this area here, so let's say I want to do another condition. This time an area condition. Exam room flooring. Exam room flooring. So I'm going to turn on area minus back out areas. I sometimes turn on perimeter. It doesn't really hurt the software to turn on more of these than you would need. An exam room, and I'd have to look at the specs, sometimes it's more of a sheet good, but let's say it was a tile type of floor. I could turn on my tile count, right, in each. So now it's going to give me a perimeter, an area, and a tile count. One thing you don't want to do is use these perimeters for base, like rubber base takeoffs, because the base finishes could be different. So you could have in a area, you could have VCT flooring or a tile flooring with a wood base, but then you go into a bathroom and you have that same tile flooring with a tile base. So don't try to combine so many things into one condition to save yourself takeoff time. You're introducing a lot of inaccuracies, and you're going to make mistakes in industry, and it's going to cost you money. In my class, it will cost you points, which is, I guess, less harsh than costing money. But so if I turn on these three conditions, or units of measure, I should say, click apply, okay. So to take off an area, I'm just going to click the corners of the room. 1, 2, 3. And then to end this, I'm going to double click. You can, if you zoom in after the fact and you decide, well, your OCD is going to kick in, you can modify these after by dragging the grips, just like adjusting the size of a photo in a PowerPoint presentation.